Hi, this is Jyoti here. Welcome to Jopat Tech Guru. In today's session, I'm going to discuss regarding interfaces in C#. So before moving ahead, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe it. Click on the like video if you have liked this video and click on the bell icon to get the notifications of all my new videos. So let us start the discussion. So most of you who are visiting this interfaces concept, you already might be aware that there are so many built-in interfaces as well as there are user-defined interfaces which we can create. So first of all, what exactly an interface is? You can just define it like a contract with respect to the class. Whatever the things I want to have it with respect to the class, I'm going to define it in case of interface. So an interface can contain signatures, declarations of the methods, properties, indexers, and events. So it is not only the function signatures, it can have the properties, indexers, as well as events. The implementation of the methods is done in the class that implements the interface. Of course, I cannot create the object of the interface. That's why I have to go ahead and implement it rather than using the word inheritance. Inheritance is extensively used for classes, but interfaces, we have to use the word called as implementation. The implementation of the methods is done in the class that implements the interface. So whatever the function signatures you have written it inside the interface that need to be implemented in the class. A delegate is a type that can't be declared in an interface. So I cannot declare a delegate inside the interface. What is a delegate? It is a type safe function pointers. You can either use an event or declare a delegate outside the interface, but in the same namespace. So usually the namespace is the one which is having the collection of classes. Namespace can have enumerations, classes, structures, as well as interfaces, delegates, everything you can define it. So if at all you want to define the delegate, it should be outside the interface, but inside the namespace. Interfaces in C# provides a way to achieve runtime polymorphism. So in the polymorphism, there are two types, design time as well as runtime. You might be aware about function overloading, operator overloading. These are the concepts with respect to design time. Runtime, function overriding. We are adding this virtual and override keyword. Interfaces in C# provides a way to achieve runtime polymorphism. Using interfaces, we can invoke functions from various classes through the same interface reference, whereas using virtual functions, we can invoke functions from various classes in the same inheritance hierarchy through the same reference. So virtual override, how we are writing it. Similarly, whatever the interface function signatures are there, those are getting overridden in the derived class. An interface can inherit from one or more base interfaces. A class that implements an interface can explicitly implement members of that particular interface. So whatever the interface related function signatures are there, all need to be written with the function body in the derived class. We cannot tell that currently I require two things, so I'm going to write the function body. Later on, I may require other things. That time I'll write it. Whether you want it or not, you have to write all the function bodies of the function signatures which you have declared it inside the interface. An explicitly implemented member cannot be accessed through a class instance, but only through an instance of the interface. So again, as per the interfaces are concerned, we are having two types. One is implicit, second is explicit. What do you mean by implicit interface? This is the most regular or obvious way to implement members of an interface. Here, we don't specify the interface name of the members and implement implicitly. The method can be declared at any interface the class implements. I can create one interface and I can keep on implementing it in number of classes. Implicit interface is the one in which We are just using the function names, function signatures as it is. But again, if we are talking about explicit interface implementation, here we are using the interface name. First of all, interfaces support multiple inheritance, as I cannot go on giving number of classes with a comma operator in the inheritance. Interfaces are introduced, wherein I can go on giving more than one interface with a comma operator. This is another way to implement members of an interface. Here we need to specify the interface name of the members. The constraint with explicit implementation is that an explicitly implemented member cannot be accessed using the class instance, but only through the instance of the interface. So whenever you are going to create the explicit, you will be using the interface name dot the function name. So what are the purposes of interfaces? It creates loosely coupled software. It supports design by contract. An implementer must provide the entire interface. If you go to some real-time projects, you'll be able to see many of the standard interfaces which are given by different software developers. Whatever the contracts they want to create it with respect to the class, everything will be defined over there. You have to just implement them. Even there are many built-in interfaces are also there in case of Microsoft. That is, we are having IEnumerable, iCollection, iList, iComparer, iComparable. Like this, you can see number of built-in interfaces. This allow for pluggable software. This allow objects to interact easily, hide implementation details of classes from each other, and facilitate reuse of software. Any number of times you can keep on utilizing the same. So let us see with respect to an example. I have just opened a simple console application. And here we have got a namespace. You can open through the Visual Studio 2017, 19, 2022, any of the Visual Studio versions. Currently, I'm having Visual Studio 2022. In this, I'm just opening a console application with .NET Framework. Simple program.cs file. This is not a core application. This is simple console application with the .NET Framework. So now let us try to create the interface here. Interface. So let us just go ahead and create an interface called as bank. And I would like to have public, okay, void. Let me just give credit and public void. Let me give debit. First of all, you're going to see an error. What is that? Here, no need of writing this public keyword because by default they are public. So here, whatever the functions are there, function signatures are there, directly you can give void. Interface is a keyword. This is the name of the interface. And these are the contracts which are going to get signed with the class. So now let me take a class called as new class. And here I'm going to take this bank. So what is this bank? Bank is an interface. So I don't have to keep on writing anything. Just move the cursor here. Just click once. It is going to show you two sections. One is implement interface. This is implicit way. Implement all members explicitly. This is explicit interface implementation. So let me show you first of all the implement interface or implicit way. Here you can observe that I have got all these functions automatically. Only thing is I have to remove this predefined code which is getting displayed here. So credit and debit, whatever the things you want to write, you can write it. So credit is invoked. And again, I'm writing debit is invoked. Fine. These are the two things I have written it. So I have implemented my interface in an implicit way. So I am not getting any name of the interface. Credit refers to bank credit. Debit refers to bank debit. So how to call it? Just the way how we are calling this normal methods in case of classes. In the similar way, you can call this. Let me add a read line. And here I have got a new class n1 dot credit n1 dot debit. Fine. So let me just execute it. I will be able to see the two sentences. Visual Studio 2022 is very helpful. It is suggesting us a lot of IntelliSense. There's a lot of IntelliSense support. So whenever you're writing any of the code, you can just wait for a while. Automatically, it is going to show you all the code. If you want the same code, just keep on pressing double tap. So currently, after executing this, I'm getting this credit and debit, right? Now, can I just skip this credit for a while and let me write only debit? You will be getting an error here. New class does not implement interface member bank.credit. That means what? It is not accepting the implementation without credit. So in the interface, if you are having 10 different type of function signature, all the function body should be written over here. You cannot skip any one of the functionalities. All these things need to be implemented. This is what how to create the interface, okay, and how to implement the implicit way. Fine. Now let me just comment it. Again, I'll be getting the error, right? Again, I'll be getting the error.